get ready. My people get ready. Sippers get ready for tea with me.
Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with your wee mate Shane Todd. Before we get into this episode, got a couple things I need to run by you. The first of which is I'm in the SSE Arena this week and next. This week's show, which is the 9th of November, there is a limited amount of tickets that went back on sale because production holds were taken out. I don't know if by the time this goes out there will be any, but there is for the 15th, shanetoddcomedy.com. And then I'm in Europe and the Middle East, and then I don't know if America will be announced by this point, but that'll be next year. shanetoddcomedy.com. We are in the Waterfront Hall with Tea With Me Live doing two big shows. Dave Elliott, William Thompson, Andrew Ryan, Mickey Bartlett will be like two pairs. Two of them doing stand-up, two of them on the couch, and then that rotates the next night. So you're going to see your favourite Tea With Me guests on the live pod. Tickets are in the description below. That's going to be great. On Patreon, the Roast of Willie T is now out.
It is, yeah.
This is going to be brutal. What you're going to hear tonight, don't be shocked. We're all mates. William Thompson!
I'm really afraid I'll go too far insulting people.
We got thick skin, we're comics, right?
The only thing browner than Shane's nose is... Stop me when I'm telling lies.
Their heads well and truly jammed up that.
It's the only person I know who is too boring to
But as someone with eyes, I hate...
I think God's bad. Wait for the next one.
Spiraling towards an early grave.
Oh God, I'm not going to do that one. Okay, cool.
Some of your favourite comedians, some guys you've never heard of, on the roast of William Thompson, going back and forth. It's brutal, it's wild. It will only be on Patreon. You'll see clips, but the whole thing in its entirety is a Patreon exclusive. Patreon.com/TeamWithMePodcast. You know all the extra stuff that we do out on there. And yeah, you'll enjoy watching that. You know, a few cats in the hen house.
Foxes in the hen?
A few foxes put amongst the hens in the house. Check that out. Anything else, Dan, before?
Just Manscaped.
Just Manscaped. Look, you don't need me to tell you, but I will anyway, since you asked nicely. The Manscaped is number one in men's below the belt grooming. Think of a product for your dick and balls. They've got it. They've got it. They've got new products coming out, left, right, and centre, coming out of their ears, and those ears are hair free because they use the wee weed whacker in there for your nose and ear hair. Hey, you're getting to my age. I'm a 36-year-old young guy. You need these products. You don't think you do, but you do. Some people in the winter months they throw aside pube grooming. You know, and they say pube grooming sounds like a lower tier Nazi. But Fusty loves it. You know, pube grooming gets put to one side for the winter. But no, you need to be the best version of yourself hair wise all year round. So go to manscaped.com, check out all the amazing list of products that they have, and you can use Tea With Me at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. The link is in the description. This is a great episode today. I'm delighted to say that we made this episode happen, and shout out to Dan, Fosty and Georgia for moving the studio into the Limelight, because my guest today was doing a show in the Limelight, and we sometimes have done this before. We'll bring the studio to you to make that easier, because she was literally going on stage just after we recorded the pod. Michelle Wolf is my guest on the Tea With Me podcast this week. I can't believe it. When I saw Michelle Wolf was coming here, I started reaching out through different ways to try and say, and it's just one of those ones where you ask and you're expecting like a no response or a polite no, but she was up for doing it, and we couldn't believe her luck. Michelle Wolf is a huge name in American comedy, not only as a performer but as a writer as well. We talk in this episode about her writing for some of the biggest TV shows in America and some of the roasts. That you see Michelle is behind a lot of those jokes from maybe people who don't do stand up and want to have funny roast. But she is just one of the loveliest comics I've ever met, and hilarious as well. We had a great time doing this podcast. Please enjoy this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with my guest, Michelle Wolf. Oh, more of an owl. So in the background, there is going to be the noise of our traffic lights when people go across. What do you think of that as a traffic light noise?
It's like it's a little too soothing. I almost think.
You think so?
Like because I feel like the ones in America, like almost everything American, is very aggressive.
Just gunshots.
Yeah. Cross now or die. But they also now a lot of them in America too. Will those just be like walk now?
Oh yeah.
Walk now. Yeah.
Right.
And, I guess for blind people mostly, but. Also
They still
just
don't need to be like that rude to them. That sounds
No,
like...
yeah. Like, do it.
Yeah.
You cross the street. Quick. You only have a couple seconds. Hurry.
What do you think of... first of all, it's so good that you're in Belfast. We were talking about before about American comedians coming over, international comedians, and it happened in Dublin for so many years. They came to Dublin, so we would have to go to Dublin to see someone like you or any of the great acts that have been over. But now people coming to Belfast. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fantastic. Like, there are, well, I know this is technically the UK, so I don't want to, like, speak out of turn. But
Just keep it moving here, okay?
In the whole country of Ireland.
You know the thing is,
I don't want to get in trouble.
I also can't describe it, and I'm from here, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
the island, the whole island. Yeah. It's like the size of Indiana, like one state.
Yeah,
And we're doing 10 different cities. In this tour, and everything's like just a couple hours, if that, away from each other, and you couldn't do that in Indiana. Like you could play like 2 cities maybe there, and so like. To get to be in like, especially like away from America and like do a bunch of different shows within 2 weeks. It's just like, it's a cool experience. You get to different cultures, different crowds. Like, I mean, I know we both speak English, but like, there's a lot of differences.
There's big differences. Like, do you think our accent's kind of mad, like in all the places you've been?
I mean, I'm really bad with accents in general. Like when I watch television, if there's any accent, I have to have the subtitles on. Like I'm like an old mom.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't have the ear for it. I also can't speak other languages very well,
Right.
So any accent, I'm sort of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have noticed it's different and like.
It is a small place here, but you go like. There's a place you won't be doing on your tour. There's a place called Ballymena, which is like 20 minutes away from here. I wouldn't know what they were saying. We're like you would think somewhere this small would just have one accent,
right?
But we make up for it. We have like 1 million of them.
So many. Like I can definitely notice a difference between there was definitely a difference between Cork and even Dublin. I mean, Dublin's a totally different.
There's a difference between Cork and anywhere else that speaks English. Cork's mad.
Yeah.
They have a lovely accent though.
Yeah. Then we went to Ballycotton, which is like. On the coast.
Oh, just outside? Yeah.
And Ballycronin or Cronin, I don't know.
You'll only do, on this tour, it's got to be Bally.
Yeah.
It's got to be Bally something. It doesn't matter what it is.
And yeah, it was just, I don't know, it's just, it's been absolutely beautiful. And I'll say something a tiny bit controversial. I love the food.
Yeah.
I absolutely, give me a meat pie. Give me a roast.
That won't mean the world, does.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I could eat like this every single day.
I'd love it if you were just having like Subway, Burger King.
Yeah. I love your food. I got a Italian BMT.
Yeah. But like, well, we love people like coming over here, traveling over here. Is this the first time you've been in Ireland?
No, I've been to Dublin a bunch of times.
Oh, okay.
I did. I think the first time I was ever there was for the Ivy Gardens, which is now
the festival,
the Paddy Power one, I guess. But then this is going to sound very name droppy, and I'm not, but it's just what happened. Then I opened for Chris Rock at the 3 Arena in Dublin.
Yeah.
And then like the next year I opened for Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart at the 3 Arena. And then just in 2022, I opened for Dave again at the 3 Arena.
Yeah.
So I've had very different experiences.
Well, like you say, it's like doing that though, when it's like one get in, get out date, you don't see
Yeah.
a city, you don't get the feel of a place. Like I experienced that a little bit. Like you have the same day over and over again.
Yeah.
And you maybe see like a tiny bit of it.
Well, so I always go for a run in the
Yeah.
morning, and
I saw you went for a run today around the lock.
I did. Yeah,
I saw on
yeah.
Instagram. I wasn't like in the reef.
Oh yeah,
in,
yeah.
in
You're
the
like, I
reefs.
saw you.
Yeah.
I just
With a snorkel.
no, yeah. I ran along the river, which was absolutely beautiful. Like I just and I could have kept going. It got to like a really pretty part, and that was like at my turnaround point, and I was like, oh come on. But it was really cool. And in Dublin, like I think the first time I was there with Chris, I went for a run in Phoenix Park, and I was like, well, this is great. And even just like walking to get to the run, you always see a bit more of the city.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been like I ran all around Limerick, I ran all around Kilkenny. I didn't run in. No, I did do a run. I ran in Cork. Yeah, it was great. I ran in Cork, and I was on the around the river.
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of missing persons vehicles, like searching the river.
Oh, I thought
like,
you meant missing persons. What are the chances?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah, no, I was like, I noticed you. I noticed. I
they were searching for people.
Yeah, they were searching for somebody, but they were so calm.
Yeah.
You know, like they were just, it's like, I guess, what can you do? You know, like,
yeah.
But it almost felt like they were like waiting for me to go missing.
Right.
You know, like
Cork's a slow pace of life, so I'd say like people don't really go that far, even if they're missing.
Yeah.
They're probably close.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sippers, let me take a quick minute to tell you that this very special episode of the Tea With Me podcast is sponsored by our friends at BetterHelp. Sometimes you take a moment just to say thank you to some people in your life and give them a big shout out. And right now I want to give a shout out to these two guys over here, Michael Foster and Daniel Quick, to give them his legal name. These guys, we were doing an episode of the podcast during the week there with Michelle Wolf, and they went down to the Limelight. They said it, we got to do the episode there, and they put the hours of work in, and they set it up in the Limelight, made a lovely studio environment, and then packed the whole thing up into Fosty's van while I just went and watched the show. Fauntleroy, my feet don't touch the ground. But these boys, they put in the work, and I want to let them know I'm grateful. This month is all about gratitude, and along with me shouting at these guys, there's a person we don't say thank you to enough, and that's ourselves. Look in the mirror, a pretty person staring back at you. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that isn't easy. This is a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Visit betterhelp.com/teawithme today to get 10% off your first month. The link for all that's in the description. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/teawithme. Back to the app. I like exercise when I go different places. And when I was in Sydney, we were doing we had comedians charity boxing done the last couple of years, and I had a fight coming up. And then when I was in Australia, I was like warm weather training camp.
Yeah.
You know, so I got in touch with this guy who just I feel like would know people who do exercise. He's from there.
Yeah.
I was like, he'll know someone, and he
Right.
did, and it was this professional Italian boxer in Sydney, and he's like, I'm going to take you for a session. I was like, brilliant, and we did it right by Bondi Beach, but it was like 40 degrees, and it was great at the start. But then, and there was like a load of like young people watching. So it was like the area couldn't be more public.
Right.
So it's like you have beach and then there's like a concrete bit, and everybody was watching. This is how I know like we're not like a warm place. The sweat kept like bypassing my eyebrows and just going directly into my eye. And the first time it happened, I was like, oh, like I'm good to go here.
Yeah.
And the guy was like real intense, as you would be if you're a professional boxer. But the sweat, like I have very, like you can see, like I don't mind you saying, like my eyebrows aren't very strong.
No,
So
I mean, but you don't want like a huge bushy eyebrow.
I do, but mine stop halfway through. You don't even know if you can properly see, but like they kind of stop halfway through.
All right.
And that's like a clearing.
Yeah, there
for
was
the
just
sweat.
like a little.
Yeah.
There was just a tiny river.
Yeah,
straight
just
from
a wee
your-
bit gets through, and but it bottlenecks as well. So then the lot will come at once. And I was supposed to do a 45-minute session with this guy, and after like 6 minutes, I was like, I can't do this, like because of my
You
eyes.
also like you can't with boxing gloves. You
can't see
can't wipe
anything.
your eyes.
No, I had the, and we filmed it, so I will have footage somewhere. But I would have to take both gloves off.
Yeah.
And then I didn't bring a towel, but I had a t-shirt, and I had to go over like wipe and then but it was the way.
That sounds
but the
miserable.
idea in my head of what that would be like doing a
Right.
boxing session on Bondi Beach was
Yeah.
just different to the reality.
Right, and you'll be like, you probably thought like, after today, I'm gonna be,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like ready for the big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I
For
also,
sure.
if someone was like, let's go exercise on Bondi Beach, I'd be like, you got to take me to a place where people are uglier.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
yeah. Oh, I thought I was.
I can't be out there with all those women.
Have you been
in
Bondi
bikini-
Beach?
I know. I honestly, I'm like scared of how Australians are super hot.
Yeah, good-looking
Men
people.
and women,
Yeah.
and I try to avoid being in places with a lot of hot women,
Right.
Because
Hey.
I'm funny,
Hey,
and
if you don't like hot people, welcome to Belfast.
Right.
I would move. Yeah, I would definitely like move here.
yeah,
Like we're very like we don't have extreme weather, but we are very like our face. We feel the weather on our face.
Right.
That's sort of like a lot of weathered people.
Yeah.
and we're sad.
Yeah, you've got a wind blown face.
Yeah. No one's like glow. You know that phrase like
Yeah.
you're glowing. I'd never heard that till I left here. But yeah, I love to travel, love to exercise when I'm away. But like sometimes the reality of it's different to what. Like in
Yeah.
New York, I did some boxing because it was the same charity fight that was coming up, and I was on tour and we filmed it just so we were documenting what I was doing out there, and I watched it back and it was like in Brooklyn under the subway or under like a train track, and I thought this is so cool, and I went through all the moves and everything, and then I watched it back and I was like, this isn't what I think it is.
Right.
I don't move like I think I do in my head. What part of America are you from,
I'm from Pennsylvania. Oh, real quick, how'd the boxing match go?
Michelle? All I'll say is 2-0, and I've retired.
All right.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
we've done it last 2 years, but look, it's about the charity. We do it for the kids.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you know what? It for like 6 months is all we talked about in the podcast.
Yeah.
And like listeners started to like really hate me because I kind of got carried away and thought I was a professional boxer. But it was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was so good. We did it in the Ulster Hall just around the corner.
Yeah.
Which is like a historic venue for boxing. And it was brilliant. All comedians, and we did it for Children's Cancer Unit. And so you get to like raise money but do something selfishly that's brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we loved it. It was great.
Did you actually hit somebody in the face?
Yep.
Because every time I've done boxing for exercise, anytime it's gotten to like, okay, now actually hit me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, the guy that I fought, who I beat, I got the decision over him. He's coming to your show tonight. He's called Sean Hegarty.
Oh, yeah?
So I want you to I want you to get at him.
Yeah, I
For your
will.
whole
I'll
show.
be like, I heard Sean's here and he's lost
Yeah.
a bunch of matches.
Yeah.
Sean's here. He's not a great boxer.
But it took me 5 days to recover from it. Next day, I felt like I'd been a
Yeah.
bad boss. It was horrific.
yeah. Can you imagine if that was like your actual profession?
Oh, I'd hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. I've got out at the right time.
Yeah.
I've retired.
Yeah.
I've retired. I don't know much of America bar like the main places.
Yeah, so I'm from Pennsylvania, but specifically I'm from Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is like in the middle of the state, and it's where Hershey chocolate.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you get of Hershey chocolate over here. Because
Well,
it's
I'm
like,
lactose intolerant, but
It's also a shit chocolate. It's
Is
not.
it?
Yeah, I mean, like I did not like chocolate because growing up I always had Hershey chocolate, and then I had Cadbury for
Cadbury's?
the first time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, this is what you guys
Real
were talking
chocolate.
about. Yeah,
People always
it's
say-
excellent.
People always say, like, when American people come here, they go, "Oh, you can taste real ingredients."
It's,
Like, you guys make food with real things.
I was just okay. So like Skittles in America, like I can't remember the exact phrase they used, but it's something like the preservatives or food dyes or whatever they put in are like, it's not carcinogens, but it's something poisonous.
Crystal meth.
Yeah. And so I haven't really been eating Skittles. And then one of the women that's here with me, she bought Skittles and I tried them. They're a different color, like slightly, like ours are like neon colors.
Yeah.
It's like a slightly different, more natural looking color, and they taste different. And I was like, yeah, it's because they took out the dead stuff.
Yeah, but we have like we can't have anything though. We have sugar tax.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good.
So you got to pay way more for fizzy stuff and sweets because
Yeah.
E numbers was the thing. Or E numbers are banned, are they? Yeah, they're not allowed to do E numbers. That's what's in like Skittles and all those sweets that make you hyper. You know, your birthday party and stuff, and you get carried away when you were a kid. Like I got sent off at my own play soccer for my 7th birthday, and my ex-stepdad,
Yeah, you won.
sent me off. He sent me off. I had a full tantrum, and that was E numbers.
Wow.
That's because I
It's
was
your
Smarties.
birthday.
That's because I was
Yeah.
eating too many Smarties for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you tried to do that, like in America, we tried to, those super big sodas you can get.
Yeah.
The
Big
big
gulp.
gulps. Yeah. We tried to in New York specifically. Bloomberg was the mayor at the time. He was trying to ban them.
Right.
And the American mentality of when you try to take something away from us, we're like, we're going to drink more of it.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
you don't need a soda that big.
Yeah.
No one needs 64 ounces
I feel like
of Coke.
I feel like in America stuff like that, people just say the phrase First Amendment a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means, but people will say about anything.
Oh yeah, that's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But you're also just yeah, that's not what
It wasn't for big gulp.
Yeah, no, it was. If the founding fathers were around, a lot of the stuff now, they'd be like, well, not for this. It's just.
The food thing's weird, but is Christian Pulisic from there too? Football?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. I went to his dad's. So his dad used to play. I guess he was a professional football player. But he played for this indoor. Soccer team.
Yeah.
Called the Harrisburg Heat. Harrisburg is another town that's nearby, and I used to watch him a lot. And then he had a soccer camp that I went to. It was at this place called Lebanon Valley College, and I went to Christian Pulisic's dad's soccer camp, and I still have the shirt. It's one of my favorite T-shirts.
That's cool.
This is way before he was professional soccer player or anything.
That's the only
Sorry,
other thing
football.
I knew about Hershey.
But he's it was way before he was professional, and it's just one of those shirts that turned really soft.
Yeah,
And so I absolutely love it, and it's I've never met him, but went to his dad's.
That's
camp.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great camp too because we, you play football in the morning and then you have this big lunch, but it was in a college cafeteria.
Yeah.
And university cafeteria, and it was you could have soft serve on waffles and
Right.
just the stuff where you're this is what people are eating when they go away to school.
Yeah. See, you mentioned American high school cafeterias.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to witness a fight in an American cafeteria.
Yeah.
From the movies.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Some nerd get hit with a tray. I'd be happy to be the nerd. I would just love to be involved.
Yeah,
all by the lockers and everything.
I feel now there's so much devastating violence in schools that they're I think everyone would be happy to see a fight
Just
in a
to beat up.
cafeteria. They'd be yeah, let's get back to this. Let's not take the guns away.
Yeah.
Let's throw food at each other.
Yeah, they need to get back to wedgies have stopped.
Yeah.
They need to come back.
Good old fashioned just bullying and real fighting, throwing an egg salad.
And you guys get to wear your own clothes.
Oh yeah. You can, unless you go to a Catholic school, which not even that many in America anymore. But
You just gotta wear real skimpy clothes.
You can wear it. You can. And then oddly enough, you probably couldn't wear a Catholic school skirt in in a non-Catholic high school. But you get to wear whatever you want, which is also it's kind of shitty to do that to kids because then it's you have to decide what to wear every
you gotta
day.
look, good drip.
Yeah. You gotta, what do they say? You gotta eat. You gotta be 8. I don't know.
You've got to be at. You're still thinking Catholic school.
No, when it's I sound so lame right
so
now.
say someone,
but
eat it.
No,
not good.
when you have a good outfit on, it's oh, she ate it. She ate it.
It sounds bad.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. But also, I sound so lame trying to explain it. I'm just a almost 40-year-old woman trying to explain a young person's slang.
I would love to have been in American high school.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. It was great.
Yeah.
But I also was a nerd. I didn't go to parties or anything
me
like
neither.
that. I was just I played sports.
Yeah.
And, it was just
Was there anyone in your class called Chad?
I did have a Chad, but he was kind of a loser.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm obsessed with? And I don't know. Here's what my TikTok algorithm throws up for me. 1990s soccer compilations and American high school reunions. So it goes from the yearbook picture to the reveal of the person now.
Yeah,
I am obsessed. I love it.
I don't feel like we age very well in America at all.
You get so, here's what you do. You get so into it, right? Because it's always the reverse. You'll see like a beautiful guy, you know, like the quarterback type guy, and then you see him now, and he turns around to the camera, and you're like, no.
Yeah, you're like, wow, you really peaked.
And then it's the complete opposite. You know, you'll see like a girl who's not good looking, then you see her now, you're like, glow up.
Yeah.
She ate it.
Yeah. I think we're doing it right.
I'm just going to comment that in all those videos now.
Yeah. She ate it. Yeah. You should check to make sure I'm not doing it completely wrong.
Yeah, well. Have you ever been to a high school reunion?
You know, I did. I went to, what year was it? I guess it must have been my 15th high school reunion, or no, must have been my 10th high school reunion.
As in like 10 years
10
since?
years.
I thought you meant you'd been to 10 of these. I was like,
No,
I don't even know if at that point it's your school.
No. I just love going back to high school. I love to show everybody, look where I am now. I think it was, it must have been my 10th, the 10th anniversary. And it was, I mean, I was kind of in this, I was doing comedy full time, so maybe
that's
it
what I was
wasn't.
going to ask, because it's such a mad job to show up to the reunion with.
Yeah, because I also wasn't like, I mean, I was funny in high school, you know, like, and my group of friends, we were like fun and silly.
Yeah,
I had this group of girlfriends in high school, and we were all like there was a group of like hot kind of bad girls, and then we were like the group of like, we were like the cute, you know. Someone was like class presidents. Right. I was like, you know, captain of the track team. You know, like we all had like activities and stuff, and we were a little like, look at us.
Weirdly, me and the guys I was friends with were also like that.
Yeah, you guys, look at us.
That's exactly the way we spoke.
And so like I, you know, but I was also very like studious and very, you know, and so I think a lot of people I knew growing up were very surprised that I went into comedy, and a lot of people were like, "You're going into comedy? Like, what is like? How do you even do that?" You know? And then, so I think by the time we had the high school reunion, I think I must have been working at Late Night with Seth at that point. So like I had like a real comedy job. Yeah. Which like people like have so many questions and all that stuff, and I was very vague, and you know, you don't want to.
Well, the people that would have bullied you in school, have you ever had it where like one of those people comes to a show, or you know, drops you at the end, be like, you're killing it and that kind of thing?
Not to be like, I never really got bullied, but there was there was a girl who like. She's like very unhappy that I'm doing comedy.
Sorry, that's right. You said you were a nerd. I took that in my head as you said you got bullied, so that probably comes out of nowhere when I'm like, you got bullied.
No, because you'd think nerds, you know, would. It was a very bizarre. We were like on a very like thin line of like not getting.
Well, if you were captain of the track team, you probably just outran it.
Yeah, you know, it was like what, you gonna bully me? I'm very athletic. Yeah. I used to also take weightlifting class instead of gym class, and like I would like lift more than some of the guys.
Right.
And the coach of the class, or the teacher, or whatever, he would make sure to point out to all the guys when I was lifting more than them. He'd be like, "Look at her, she just lifted more than you," and I was just like, "Don't do that to him," you know, like come on.
Do you know? I'm going to tell you this at the start of the podcast. We met before.
When?
I wouldn't expect you to know. Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Wow.
I walked past you and went, that was a great set. And you said, thanks.
I was, you know,
surprised you don't remember.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
I think it was in a corridor, if that helps. It was dark, and it was a great set.
Yeah, no. Now it rings a bell for sure.
I think you were in town at the Fringe, and you jumped on a show and opened for somebody.
Louis, I was opening
in the Playhouse.
Yeah. So like
that was great.
It was so fun. So like we had been on I think we did like another city or two together, but he was going on to do this whole European tour, and I couldn't. He had asked me to do the whole tour, but I was like, well, I got, you know, Edinburgh, so I just did that show with him. But I'm actually, I think I might do Edinburgh again.
Yeah. This year coming.
This year,
I think I'm going to do a bit of it. I like to just people not know if I'm at Edinburgh or not. I'll just be there for like a little bit. Like the year just passed, I did 2 nights in Edinburgh. I did one Saturday, and then the next week I did just a Sunday. And it was great because you see your friends who've been there all month, and they're like dead behind the eyes,
Yeah,
soulless, missing teeth, all that kind of stuff, heroin. And you
They
just
like forget
breeze,
why they're doing this
Yeah.
at all.
you just breeze in for one day,
Yeah.
and it's great because you're full of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I actually flew home the same night that my show was.
Oh yeah.
Did a 7 p.m. show, got like a 10-20 flight home. It was brilliant.
great.
But the Fringe is, have you done a full run at the Fringe before?
So the first time I did it, I did a full run, and I had a good time. But it was one of those things where everyone had told me so many horror stories.
Yeah,
And it was until I got back on the plane home, then I was like, I think I actually had a good time.
Yeah,
You know,
okay,
like
that's
it was,
good.
but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to admit that the whole time because I didn't want to like jinx myself or something. But this time, I just think it'd be fun to do again because obviously I'm in a very different spot in my career, but like. Yeah, I just want to see,
Yeah.
like I just want to try again, like
I think
just
it's-
like
I mean, it's fun. And if you have
Yeah.
a show, that show by the end of it is so much better.
well, and also with a baby, like to be in one place where you can do like 28 shows like in a month,
Yeah.
and not have to move every day.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's pretty perfect.
Yeah, because I think that's what I'll do. If I do maybe a couple of weeks this year, we'll bring the kids and try and stay somewhere just out of the city.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm also telling other people this because I want friends
You'll
there.
people be like, "That's a good idea."
yeah.
I really want to sneak my oldest son in to watch me, like just do a little bit of a set.
Yeah.
He's never seen obviously like me do stand up.
Yeah.
He's 4, and I don't think he'd sit there for the hour and be like, silently be like, "That was a great callback." But I think I'd love to just. Because he knows what it is and he's seen like clips
Yeah.
because I show him clips every day. But I just would love him to like be there just
Yeah.
to crane his head out as part of it.
That'd
you
be
know?
really cool. I mean,
I
it's
just
got
don't
to
know what
be
you think.
such a trip to like see your parent on stage
Yeah.
and like you're like, I don't know, like I don't even. I mean, I don't come from like a entertainment family or
No,
anything,
me
so I
neither.
can't imagine like what it's like to see your parent and people reacting to them.
Yeah, well, my dad was a motorbike racer. My dad's done
Mm-hmm.
the podcast and stuff, and he was a motorbike racer like locally.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to like, I haven't been in years, and neither really is he. If we go to like a road racing event, he's like the Fonz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I obviously never really saw him race.
Yeah.
Because he stopped when I was really young. But that it's weird to like people
Yeah.
pop off for him and stuff.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Is it cool to see?
It's cool to see. And my dad, and we talked about it in the pod, my dad's like 74. He's really bad at people's names. He's got memory issues. So it's really fun to see my dad sometimes just attempt people's name. I always tell
Yeah.
him, just say like hello.
Yeah.
Like you don't need it, because it's someone he'll vaguely have met. Like
Yeah.
me saying to you in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
My dad would remember that and then try and remember this person's name that he met once.
Right.
And I'm like, but he does this thing where he like will just do a noise that he tricks you into thinking he might have said your name.
Right.
But I always tell him just say hello. But my dad just like does this like murmur of it, and it, like no one's ever not looked at me beside him and gone,
You should also, I mean, you got a wingman for him in that situation and be like, "Hi,
name
I'm
again?"
Shane,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
so that they have to say their name to you.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people because I had a baby and then my memory just died.
baby brain.
Yeah. And they say your memory's supposed to come back, but mine hasn't. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's either a lie or I'm broken.
Yeah.
Which could be true.
But the baby's getting to go everywhere.
Oh yeah, the baby's everywhere, and it really freaks her out. The first time I did like a guest hosting week on the Daily Show, and she was like, this was like last November, so she was I don't know like 10 months old or something, and she saw me on a TV screen, and she like just started to cry because she was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like,
yeah.
why is she there and not? But she's not that. She's there, but she's not there.
Yeah.
But now she's like seen me a couple times, like seen videos and stuff, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Has it changed you much as a comic?
yeah, it really has. It's also I do a little bit of this in my set, but I think the biggest mental change is that I really like. I'm very grateful to be on stage now. Like I've always been grateful to be on stage, but like in a very different way now, where I'm like, it's just nice to be able to like be me.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I can't like she's with someone else. Someone else is helping and taking care of her. And like, I don't have that responsibility. So I just get to be me and do jokes. And it's also made me a bit more fearless on stage where it's like, I don't care. I'm like just legitimately happy to be here.
Yeah.
Like it, don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been really good. And it's also, I mean, it's like a constant stream of material.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it really helped me. I never really understood that phrase. People saying like, you know, like you realize like who you are, or you know yourself better, and that kind of thing. And I think that translated to me like on and off stage. Like I think I'm way more comfortable just like being me on stage.
Yeah.
And being like a little bit weirder and trying different things. And beforehand I was maybe trying to be the sort of comedian that like broadcasters would like, or commissioners on television.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. Whereas now I'm very much like wanting to take risks in the act and talk about things I've never talked about before and all that kind of stuff. So and that coincided with the exact time we had kids. So I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah,
really.
and I mean, I'm sure you probably feel, and even seeing the response, that you're like, because I feel like in stand-up, the more authentic you are to yourself, and the more you develop your own point of view, the better your stand-up gets. Because it's even like, there's only so many premises, right? A lot of us we're talking about the same things, but like, you having a unique point of view on it, and like authentically, like you're gonna find people that are like, that's what I think.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I think that's, I mean, all of us are trying to like, especially early on, trying to please different people and whatever. And then when you've really like,
and almost like maybe at the very start, like almost be, without ripping off material, trying to be another act that you like or you've watched.
like emulate them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even like, you know, Chappelle talks about it where he, you know, used to like see Tony Woods perform, and he would kind of like try to do like a little bit of what he was doing. It's like, you need an example, you know, and then you kind of make it into your own. But I really do think
it should be for a lot of people, the act they mimic almost at the start, the way they dress and talk and stuff, is someone they're very close to.
Right.
And mine was difficult because mine was Cedric the Entertainer, but I'm kidding.
we cut to like old photos of you like just like drowning in a huge suit.
A big reds. Way past the knuckle. I know what I'm wearing for my next tour. I would love to do that, just like a real throwback suit, and never address it.
Never just walk out in that, like just
too many layers
like
to it.
Too many shoulders, like just real big shoulders, and just
now you live in you're based a lot of time in Barcelona. I'm doing Barcelona for the first time in December.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Where are you playing?
The Clubhouse.
Great. I love the Clubhouse. It's like, first of all, I went to Barcelona, and then I didn't realize there was an English comedy scene there.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do stand-up, so I just Googled like English comedy Barcelona, and it led me to the Clubhouse, and it was great. And then at that point, they were still in this, like, they were actually like in the bottom of like an Irish bar, but like now they have their own space, and it's like you could fit like 70 people in there, and it's where I developed most of my material now. And it's been absolutely amazing because the crowds there too are like, you know, you'll have some people like some Catalans, some Spanish people, some like, you know, you always get like a weird mix of like people from Denmark and, you know, like, I don't know, so many other places. There's a lot more countries. I just can't think of any.
You talk
of
about
them.
the baby room thing.
Yeah.
You were struggling. I went to jump in with another place and couldn't give anything. I was like, there definitely is Denmark. Denmark definitely. Like, I'm sure of that.
And we're like countries.
But I'm doing it in the South. I've never gigged there. I don't even think I've been in so many places in Spain, but never Barcelona.
Yeah.
Why? What is it you like about Barcelona that's kept you there?
There was just a guy there. There was a guy there, and so I went, and I just stayed with him.
Yeah.
So, but
And you love the city?
I do love the city. I love the city. It's like, it's coming from New York. Barcelona is like not a city.
Right.
It's a city, but it's not a city. It just feels so much more relaxed, and like, I mean, just the pace of life in Europe is different anyway, but like, it's super walkable. The weather's amazing, like the whole year.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, and then the fact on top of that I could do as much comedy as I wanted to has just been really great.
And like, obviously, if you're, if you're in New York or a big city in America, you're going to get people coming up to you and wanting to say hello and talk about a special or a joke that they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of reaction do you get on a daily basis when you're in Barcelona?
I'll have like one or two people be like, "Oh, I love your comedy," or like, "Oh," and then there's some people that are like, "You're the person from Instagram," and I'm like, "I don't know, am I?" But yeah, I mean, it's like it's kind of steadily like increasing. I'm also like pretty unique looking, especially in Barcelona. Like, there's not a lot of people that have curly red hair there. Also, I'm so sorry, my hair's so wet. You
said that at the start, and it's changed throughout.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to keep drying. I was like really banking on it being totally dry for when the show starts later. But
we're the opposite problem.
Yeah.
You have a distinctive, you're saying you have a distinctive look. I'm the opposite.
Right.
I look like everybody in the world.
Yeah, if I had to describe you, I'd just be like, man,
people,
brownish
You say
hair.
man, the amount of people who just send me pictures of Ellen on a daily basis is the worst. And
Older lesbian.
Do you know what's worse? Glenn Close. I love an Ellen when I get sent pictures.
You
of like
do
Glenn
have
Close.
some similar features to Glenn Close.
Yeah.
And not in like a you look like a woman way. Just you could be her son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have this face feel where like people, I look a bit like so many people, and like I have a bit in my show at the minute of you couldn't guess where I'm from.
Right.
Like I could be from so many places.
Yeah.
Just with like my face.
And even if you went to like when you're in America, even with your accent, I'm sure there's so many people that are like, "Where's that accent?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
But the thing with like Ellen and stuff, I tried like a couple of weeks ago. You gotta try new things. I've always been a quiff guy for the best part of 10 years. It's trademark style. God forbid I try something different. I went to my barber in Hollywood, where I'm from, about 10 minutes away here, and I said, "Listen, we're losing the quiff," and he couldn't believe it. So I got my hair cut a little bit shorter, and I sort of he sort of gave me like a fringe, like I brushed it down. We put up a podcast clip with me with that hair, and someone wrote, and it's like the most liked comment on anything I've ever done. Turbo lesbian mode activated, because my hair was like this.
you should have on like were you the person at Ellen who was mean the whole time?
I just get so many, like, I just have a very generic face.
Well, I get because of the red hair, I get Carrot Top.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, we look nothing alike.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, his hair is crazy.
Yeah, like I would never think you were Carrot Top.
Right.
But you're related.
Yeah. People are always like, "Oh, look, Carrot Top's not aging well," and I'm like, guys.
No, he's the more extreme one. Like, let's get that straight.
Yeah, I'm not on steroids, you know?
Yeah. He has a
and I'm not opposed to being on steroids either, you know?
It just seems like a lot of admin.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems easier not to be on steroids.
He has a very big face.
Yeah, he's got a big face. He's got.
But his act's great.
And like a super wide grin.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say that, because most people will like kind of shit on prop comics, but I've never heard a person say his act is bad.
Right.
Everyone's like, you actually got to see Carrot Top.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, call me Carrot Top.
That must
Go
be tough for him, because the compliment is like, you're good.
Right. Yeah. I was expecting this to be kind of shitty, and it wasn't.
You've never met Carrot Top?
I've never met him.
Who's been it? Because you've done so many like high profile shows, like all the talk shows and everything. Who's been the person you've seen in an audience or met backstage that's really thrown you? As in, like, that person's in, or you see them at the front row of a gig or whatever.
Well, so when I was working at Late Night Seth, we had on as a guest one night was Carol Burnett, and she's
Tiger King.
Oh no!
The lady from Tiger King. Carol Baskin.
Carol Burnett is a legendary comedian from the 70s who had a Carol Burnett show
Who
in
hates Joe
America.
Exotic.
And she also then opened up a tiger compound and killed her husband. Maybe, allegedly.
That's weird because I get them confused because when I watched that documentary, I was like, she should have stuck to the stand-up.
Yeah. But she has this sketch show on that was like absolutely like, no one was doing, like, she was the only woman to do it. Like, it was really amazing. And like, I was like, I wanted to meet her, but I couldn't, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other person that like, and I've seen her a couple times now, like I know her. But every time I get kind of like, it's Erykah Badu because she's
Singer?
yeah, there we go. Also owns tigers. No, I get, every time I see her, I get like, she's like the ultimate woman. She has this like ethereal, like,
She's like a queen kind of, isn't she?
yeah, like she's like this super, like, she just owns her own body so much, and she has like a very like distinct style, and like, and it's all completely her.
Right.
Like if anyone else wore it, you'd be like, what are you doing? And when she wears it, you're like, that looks amazing. Like she's just like when like men, when they feel like emasculated, you know, like I feel that way as like the female version of that when I see her, like where I'm just like, I'm not a woman, you're a woman.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like she's, and it's like, it's even worse because like I know her, I've spent time with her,
Right.
and like I still like every time I see her, I feel like I'm like, hi, how are you? It's so you're so cool.
And when you when you do such, high profile shows and all that kind of thing, the attention that comes from that, people coming up to you, love this, love that. I feel like here, as in like Ireland and UK and stuff, the positive and negative isn't wild either way.
Yeah.
But it seemed like from the outside in, it feels like in America, both of those, and I could be totally wrong, both those things are way more extreme. So the people who are like really into you doing something are like so enthusiastic and so into it. And then the opposite of like if people hate something, like that's like scary. Hate,
Yeah.
Like here it'll just be like a comment being like, sweet quiff, you wanker. You know?
Yeah.
But like, and that's not a direct quote, but but here it just seems a bit more like, get out. Both are just almost like fun. Whereas America, it seems like, especially like if you're making political jokes or anything like that, feels a bit.
Well, it's like, I did the White House Correspondents' Dinner and people got like really angry at that. And like it, I mean, like really mad. Like
in the room.
In the room, they got like very like,
right. Yeah.
and it's like, making fun of you. Like you
Yeah.
deserve to be made fun of.
Yeah.
Also, it's a roast.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I really just don't think they expected a woman to go in, because like even right before I started, I was doing like this sound check, and the woman who was organizing it all, she was like, what's your gown look like? Because it's very dressy, it's black tie, right? And I go, I'm actually wearing a suit. And she goes, me too, I'm wearing pants, my little stick it to the man. And I was like, oh my God, you have no idea what's coming. I wrote really mean things.
And did you know as you were performing that backlash would come? Like, could you feel it in the room?
I knew they were going to like, I knew I was doing, like, I knew what I was doing. The joke they decided to get the most mad at, I was like, that's like one of the nicest jokes in the whole set. Like, but I mean, it's obvious that they were just trying to like make something else the story. So it's like, cause I called them out for like, everyone's profiting off of Trump. Like you love him or hate him, you're putting him on and you're all profiting because he makes you a lot of money.
Yep.
And
it's so bad if you're in the audience and then like, the camera's on you at that joke. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, they were like, I mean, I literally saw people, like some people like were laughing and then other people at their tables would be like, stop, But I knew the room was going to get quiet, right? Like I knew it was going to like tense up. But then, like just general public people got like so angry, like even to the point where still today they're like, "Oh, aren't you like the bitch from the Correspondents' Dinner?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
And what, like when the show itself was over, were things cordial? Was it like,
there was, so it was like a very like, there was like a heaviness, you know, like, and like I was very aware of what
And
I
did you
just
feel that
did.
heaviness was all on you or everyone?
I felt like everyone was kind of like,
right.
they were like all mad at me. And then like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the press secretary who was there instead of Trump, at the end, it, like, you know, we're leaving and I just go, good night, you know, like in that very like bitchy woman way where it's like, take care, you know? And
that's actually just the way I say goodbye. So now I realize that's a bitchy one way I say goodbye.
Well, as a lesbian, you should know these things.
Hey, my hair's up.
But yeah, so like but there is like I find that there are like a lot of people in America, they don't really know the right way to compliment you, or it's like, especially as like a woman, I find like a lot of men come up to me and they're like, my wife loves you. And it's like, dude, you could just say you like me or not. Like I'm not gonna, if I feel like men feel like they have to be like, my wife, by the way, I'm married.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
straight.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you think was gonna happen? You were gonna be like, I like you, and I was gonna be like, well, now we have to have sex, and he'd be like, no, but I have a wife. I'm so sorry. You know, like.
And did you like? Was it? I guess Twitter would have been the app then, where like you see the reaction.
Yeah, it was Twitter and Instagram, and like there was like, I mean, I think I went up in followers by like a couple 100,000, you know, that night, and then a lot of reactions on Twitter, a lot of reactions on Instagram, and
we did a roast for my friend, who's a comic, and it was just all local comedians, and it's the first time we'd all done something like that. And I was really, really excited for it. But the nerves are totally different to any stand-up nerves I've had before. It's an edgy nerves, and it's a, I don't know, there was just like everyone that's sort of 10 minutes before. Just before I go on stage, I want to chat. You know, I like to talk and be relaxed. And, you know, I don't understand. When you see people who are like, I just want to pace. I don't get that. Everyone was pacing 10 minutes before. Everyone just went very quiet. And like it was small talk and it was really awkward. Roast self was great, but a bit like the boxing, I'd never do it again, I don't think. I loved it. And for that reason, I was like, I've had a good experience doing this. I won't do it again.
Do you think the tension was coming from like being worried people are going to get offended at your jokes, or the fact that it was like, because I think the most nervous I get on stage is when there's comedians I know and like, you know, either on the same show or in the audience. And I feel like that's in a roast situation. It's like, obviously you want to like have great jokes, but not like, you know, hurt a friend.
I think it was both. It was like, I'm going to go up and I know what I've written, and I've got to go up and say this about you, and I don't know if you're prepared for that, or are we all on the same level? Because we had a WhatsApp group for it, and it was said at the start by the admin, like, look, is there anything totally off limits here? Especially stuff around kids or family. If most of us were like, everything's on the table, but a couple of people had to think whether they have day jobs, maybe it's something to do with that. That's no problem. But it was just that feeling of like, I hope we're all on the same page here. And then also it was kind of like, I started getting nervous that the audience would get offended, kind of like what you're saying of maybe the people even in the room aren't that offended, but it's that being told like you should be offended at this, you know? So there was definitely like, I was on first, so there was like a bit of a, when the audience were on side, it was great, but at the start they just didn't know, because they know we're comedians together, but they don't know, hey, I'm best friends with a lot of these people, or at the very least we know each other well. But that's one of the reasons the Correspondence Dinner isn't actually a good roast is because roast, at the heart of it, you're supposed to be roasting people you like. Exactly.
You know, like you're supposed to be doing with like, it's mean, but you're doing it with a certain like joy, because it's just like us as comedians, and we make fun of each other all the time. Like we go after each other constantly. And it's when it's your friend, it's good. But like the Correspondence Dinner, it's like you versus the government. You know, like, and the powers that be. And so like you can either be like really nice, or you can be like, well, this is my opportunity to say you guys suck. Which I don't know, maybe you love the government, but
here?
No, I mean my government.
Here, listen, don't start us here. We have a complex thing here.
I know. I tried to learn a little bit about it.
They weren't here for years.
The what?
They were just chilling for years.
Yeah.
They weren't there.
The government?
They
just.
I'm not making that up. They're just not. They were like getting paid and stuff, but they were just chilling at home. And I think this was just after COVID, so it wasn't even like they were working from home.
Right.
They were just like playing PlayStation stuff.
Yeah, they're just like,
it's nuts.
it seems like things are fine.
Yeah, but we have obviously like quite tribal politics here.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So you going up against the government, you can't really do because they're so polar up. You can go up against this side and that side.
Yeah.
But everyone's united in thinking the whole institution is a bit shit.
Yeah.
But it's very like divide. You know, in America, there's just the president. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, the two major parties from the Catholic and Protestant side nominate the office of First Minister. So it's like they're both there.
Oh, so you both you there's two kind
There's
of
first and deputy
Yeah.
First Minister, so they kind of share the title. So they're kind of like
so everyone has like each side kind of has their own guy.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't like that used to be the thing about comedy here. Like that's all that it was because it just dominated everything in society here. It was so much news and but now we're kind of moving. So comedy is a lot different here. That's why comedians from here couldn't really have gone anywhere else to do gigs because there was that much happening here and the audience wanted to hear about that.
Right.
So comedians here in the 80s and 90s would be going to go, like, would be doing a show tonight and there might have been a bomb in Belfast on the same day. So they would do their show about that. And it's so impressive because they were all turning material over same day, same week.
Yeah.
But that kind of was to the detriment of... And stand-up wasn't what it is now, where the opportunities weren't there to go away and do it. So it's funny because like you go do shows in America or somewhere and people from home will come and then one guy will always text you after and be like, could have done with a bit more of that Belfast stuff. Why didn't you talk about... and I'm like...
Because I'm in Massachusetts.
Only you would get it. I made a joke. We have a shopping centre called the Castle Court Shopping Centre. And a guy at the show in... somewhere in the West Coast, maybe San Francisco, was like, I thought there'd be more of the local stuff. Well,
you mean San Francisco?
We're not local
stuff,
anymore.
or-
Like that's not local. And I said, I'm hardly going to do stuff with the Castle Court Shopping Centre. And the guy went, missed opportunity. I was like, it's not a missed opportunity.
Was there like in that time where like comedians have like the freedom to talk about whatever they wanted, or
They would have got up, and I've been lucky enough to have some of these comedians on the podcast and people I grew up watching and asking them about this kind of thing. They were saying the things that journalists and politicians weren't. Like they were. It was fearless, and they were risking their lives. Like they were making jokes about paramilitary organizations and criminal figures. And they somehow were these people that they were making jokes at. Like kind of liked, not that they liked it, but there was a sense of, okay, like, they appreciated the balls of it. So,
That's
they were
super interesting. That would have been really, really, that's like comedy at its like, like where you're like, oh yeah, you're like that's what when it's at its best.
Yeah.
It's like, like you're.
Yeah, it was stuff that was happening on the day. And by default, there would have been people that they were talking about in the audience or their family or whatever, and they would just do it.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it in a million years.
It was probably terrifying.
No way.
It was, for me, it's like, it's easy to go up against like the government and the media because it's like, I don't know, it's other than like some like, words on the internet or whatever, there's no real risk, like that's not like
I don't
people
know,
are gonna
you guys are mad out there, like.
No, like there's a ton of political tension and like everyone wants you to be on one side or the other and like I come from the I think our entire government is bullshit, like the right, the left. It's like, as it was like Veep is one of my favorite shows ever because I love that she played a Democrat and they showed how like Democratic politicians are also just bullshitting you too, so it's like but there's also, America's just, there's so much tension right there. We're so mad at each other and ourselves and I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks, but whatever. The election's going to happen in America and people aren't going to be like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I guess we've all decided, like there's not going to be
Yeah.
like some peaceful,
Yeah.
like, well, the majority wins.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah.
is just how democracy works.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to.
Yeah. Do you see like the more that is that part of the part of the reason why you would want to be in Europe more and you'd want to just, or have you always kind of felt like that? Have you always wanted to explore a place?
Well, I mean, I think there's always been like a certain romanticism about Europe for me, but I do think like don't get me, I love to go back and gig in America. I really appreciate the audience there, and like it's also, it's my home, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think there's a lot more. I want to be like a comedian of the world, like, and I think like Europe is so interesting because it's a smaller place with so many different, countries and cultures and just a ton of opportunities. And I think like the more, I mean, the more people you meet, the like, even like, it's not even that like some places aren't even that different, but like just knowing that like, oh, they make their, whatever with, I'm trying to think of a food, but I can't. Like,
Hold on, no, we can definitely think of one. Croissant.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they have a croissant, and the other people have like a Danish, or like whatever.
It has to be Danish. You've come back to Denmark twice.
I had to go back to Denmark. I have to. I know Denmark exists. There's countries in Europe, and there's Denmark.
The Danish TV
that's-
listeners fucking buzzing.
Yeah.
They love it.
Soon to be the biggest comedian in Denmark.
Yeah. I like Denmark, but I have an issue with Oslo was the tour show this year. We had to cancel.
Wait, Oslo was the
No, Milan.
Neither of those places are in Denmark.
Oh, but no, I'm just saying I have an issue with Scandinavia.
Oh,
Thank you very much. I'll take an apology from everyone in this room. Thank you. I said Denmark, okay. But yeah, Oslo and Milan.
No, I mean, I know that those aren't in Denmark. My beloved Denmark, I know those aren't part of it. No, yeah,
Fuck
I think it's making me a better comedian to be kind of like outside, because I do think we get a little bit as big as America is. I think we get like a little insular with like our ideas and politics, obviously,
here.
and then you come out, you see different places, you perform different places, and it just expands your point of view. And I think I really like the different pacing too, and I don't know. It's been a really great experience for me.
Have you ever done a show in Milan?
No, but I heard
Milan.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Where the good
now
thing is...
and now I won't ever.
Well, when they cancelled it, the good thing is the ticket holders were okay about it because there was none of them.
Right.
0 tickets in Milan. 0 tickets.
0.
Oslo, 3 in 150 seater.
Wow.
Those Danish bastards.
Wow.
But I put Brussels in
Yeah.
instead of Milan.
And how was that?
We sold 16.
Well, that's
It's a small venue and only went on sale last week. It's a 70 seater.
all right.
But,
see?
but at Barcelona we're keeping and the rest are kind of okay. But I'm just trying these places. You got to try these places.
You got to try. And sometimes there's only 3 people, and you
we
got to
need-
say, all right, not now.
We need to figure out what we'll do with the Fringe. Maybe we can work we could crack it with childcare. Where like if
Yeah.
your show's a certain time
Yeah.
and my show's a certain time.
We can just have the kids be at a certain place. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do like a little
Same venue, you're on after me. Or before. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. I'd love to do a show at like 6 or 7. If that
yeah,
suits you.
I could do 7 or 8.
Okay.
I don't really want to do 5 or 6. Because
I
it's
could-
a little early for me.
I could go 7 to 8, you go 8 to 9.
Great. Yeah,
Um,
settled.
So I think that would be ideal.
Yeah. And we just
I mean, it's going to be a busy August for my
And I
wife,
feel like
who now has 3 kids, but it'll be
I
fine.
feel like
We'll
all
work
our
it
kids
out.
are going to get along. It's
We'll work
fine.
it out.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you doing this podcast, but also the fact that you're just about to go on stage as well.
Oh yeah.
I like doing
I'm
that, but not a lot of
you.
comedians
I'm
do.
not I don't need like time before my show. I'm not like I gotta get my thoughts together. I'm like my thoughts are either together or they're not. Like I'm not.
I supported a comedian not that long ago
Uh-huh.
who had like in the last say 2 years who put just talking about normally, and then he put an iPod in, and I mean an iPod with wired headphones, which threw me off. 8 Mile.
No.
8 Mile. Just sitting there like, I'm going to need a couple of minutes.
I really
and just
hope you
sat there.
tell me who this is after this podcast
And just
is
sat
over.
there and went for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird move.
Yeah, I mean, I used to listen to that song before track meets when I was in high school.
That's
but
fine. That's
yeah,
fine.
that was not a comedy show. It seems like a quite aggressive music.
Yeah.
To then
To
tell
go
jokes
do spoken
to.
word.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But Michelle, I really appreciate doing the pod.
Loved it.
I was delighted that you said you would do it in the first place. And
Yeah,
thanks so much for coming on.
you know, to be honest, I always I don't really listen to any podcasts because you know, when you like hear stuff about people and then you like meet them and you're like, did you tell me this or did I hear this? Like, I just hate knowing too much about somebody, you know?
Yep.
So I steer away from them. And then because I haven't done a lot of podcasts, I'm like, am I bad at podcasts?
No, this has been great.
So, you know, always a little bit self-conscious.
It's been great.
Oh, good. Great.
I get concerned that you have to go on. This
Oh.
always happens. Like we did the pod with I think Burke Kreischer was about to go, we were backstage.
Yeah.
He was about to go on stage at the 3 Arena in Dublin. And he's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, please, let's wrap this up. You need to go. But I think you'll
He's
have
like,
a great,
all I have to do before I get on stage is take off my shirt. So
I think you'll have a great time tonight.
yeah, I'm
This is a
excited.
brilliant room.
Yeah.
People
yeah.
are excited about it.
Yeah, I'm, you know, like the whole thing is like, I hope to get to do this tour again next year and like, you know, build this audience.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool place.
Will you be in Barcelona when I'm there?
When are you there?
December.
December, I'll probably be there. Most
this
likely
week-
I'll be there.
this would
And
be
I'll send me the link to your show so we can make sure there's more than 3 people.
Hey, Barcelona sold about 11. That's actually true. Could do with way more. Because I have a friend who just did Barcelona, and I said when he was promoting it, I was like, "Hey, you say you sold it out, and then I'll go and be like, he sold it out. You do the same for me.
Yeah.
You would just lie about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michelle,
Honestly, that's all PR is anyway. Yeah.
thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was going to make you a cup of tea, like proper tea, but we couldn't get a kettle before we started.
Oh, well, I have my own.
Just imagine.
I have my own tea, which is wine. And
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Let's get ready for tea with me.